Shalom, this is GMS Holland Sit Downs coming back with a lesson. First off and foremost, I would like to give all praises, glory, and the highest honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect out there that's spreading this word in sincerity and in truth all over the four corners of the earth. Let me turn this stuff on. This is going to be a GMS news update, okay, concerning World War III rendering. Okay, it's the title of the video is gonna be "It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when." Okay, because we know 100% World War III is gonna pop off. We know that 100%, but when it's gonna happen, we don't know 100%. Okay, because the only thing that is being held back from World War III popping off is the MOTB being implemented, mandatory. Okay, that has to happen first. Okay, the prophecy of Revelation chapter 13. Okay, the C-hip that will be pushed upon the people, as a mandatory thing. Now I just scrolled past this other article over here. Let me see. Mind control, WEF. Technocrats openly plot to observe and track human thoughts with implants. See that? So that's another lesson that I want to go into, Lord willing, today. But this, let me see. This lesson right here, basically points out that it's gonna happen according to the time of the Most High, but things is moving into place, man. Okay, so it says this blacklistednews.com, by the way, it says, with tanks on the way, NATO is inching towards full-scale war with Russia. Now, why does it become a world war? Because individual countries have allies, okay, like the scriptures refer to as let me show you in the book of Obadiah, confederacy. Okay, Obadiah chapter 1 verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. Now this is going to be concerning the destruction of America. Okay, that is modern day Babylon in the scriptures. Okay, the man of thy confederacy. Now when you go into that word confederacy, it says barayat in the Hebrew, which says covenant, alliance, pledge between men. You see that? So that's that allyship that countries have with each other. So concerning America, the fact is going to be that the people, the nations wherewith they had allyship or confederacy, they're going to deceive them and also burn America with thermonuclear fire. You see? Now, Russia has its allies, okay, that are gonna stand by them when this turns out into an all-out war, and that makes it become a world war, okay? So it says tanks are moving into place. Let me read a little bit of this article. Almost as soon as major NATO countries, led by the U.S., promised to supply Ukraine with battle tanks, the cry went up, warning that tanks alone would be unlikely to turn the war's tide against Russia. The subtext, the one Western leaders hope their publics will not notice, is that Ukraine is struggling to hold the line as Russia builds up its troop numbers and pounds Ukrainian defenses. Okay, let me see. Upping the stakes. There is a logic to how NATO is operating step by step. It gets more deeply immersed in the war. You see, step by step. So this is, everything is just being put in place until Russia is like, hey, the hell with you, NATO countries, man. The hell with you, NATO countries. Y'all play a part in all of this. America plays a part in all of this, because that's really what is it? I think Revelation chapter 12. Here it says, almost as soon as major NATO countries led by the US. Okay, because that's the fact of the matter. It's always being led by the US. Let me see if it's chapter 12. No, it's chapter 17, I think. Chapter 17. Yeah. Yeah. Let me start at 1. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Okay, so that great whore represents America. Okay, which sitteth upon the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. You see that? So America sits on top of these nations. America stirs these nations up and leads them into the ways wherein they want to go. Okay? They drink the cup of America. Okay, jumping down to jumping down to verse 9. Beautiful. This explains it perfectly. Verse 17. And here is the mind which had wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, which represent governments, on which the woman sitteth. Okay, so we have the famous picture of, you know, this is the famous picture of wherewith we teach. Okay, the sign, the 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, as a matter of fact, let me download this. You see, the NATO. So America is basically sitting upon the NATO countries. Okay, the 10 horns representing countries, and the 7 heads representing countries. Okay, going back. Okay. So it says, back to the article, Salakia. Upping the stakes, there is a logic to how NATO is operating step by step. It gets more deeply immersed in the war. It started with sanctions, followed by the supply of defensive arms. NATO then moved to issuing more offensive weapons in aid, so far totaling some 100 billion from the US alone. So US is supplying all the resources. NATO is now supplying the main weapons for a land war. Why should it not join the battle for air supremacy next? Or as NATO's head Jens Stoltenberg recently observed, echoing George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, weapons are the way to peace. You see? So, let me see. This is rejecting humiliation, the cause for alarm again unacknowledged by Western leaders and Western media is that Russia has a very strong reason from its perspective to believe its current struggle is existing, existential. It was never going to allow Ukraine to become a forward military base for NATO on its doorstep, with the fear that Western nuclear missiles might be stationed there. You see that? So Russia knows that it's all leading towards a nuclear war. World War III will be a war that's going to be fought by thermonuclear fire. Okay? New tidbits of information that emerge of what has been going on between the scenes tend to reinforce Russia's narrative, not NATO's. This week's former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett said mediation efforts between Moscow and Kiev he had led at the start of the war, once apparently making progress, were blocked by the US and its NATO allies. Slovakia. The more weapons the US and Europe sent to Ukraine and the more they refuse to pursue talks, the more Moscow will be convinced it was right to fight and must keep fighting, ignoring the fact that the West did in the build-up as the West did in the build-up to Russia's invasion and continues to do now, does not make it any less true. You see that? So this war is rousing up, and we seeing it. Like I said, it's just a matter of time. Let me grab Proverbs real quick. It's just a matter of time. The Most High is in control of everything. Okay, it says, Proverbs chapter 21, verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Okay, so the Heavenly Father is in control over these world leaders, is in control over when the war is going to break out and when Russia is going to have enough. Because really, the scripture says that the Most High is going to draw Russia and make him flip the fuck out, basically, man. Okay. Okay, this is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Now this is referring to the land of Russia, okay, which Meshech and Tubal is actually Japhet, but the land that Japhet inhabited was the land of Russia, where now the Russians are at. And as a matter of fact, you still have Japhet over there, man. I had this guy in my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu team that was a Russian, but he's basically Japhet. Okay. So it says, but it's talking about the Russians, the Russian Edomites. Verse 3, and say, thus said Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Now here you see the confederacy, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarma of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. You see that? So that's the Confederacy allies is going to join onto Russia. And it, like I said, it's just a matter of time, man. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So that's World War III. World War III is coming, man. World War III is coming. Okay, it's only a matter of time. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And Yahweh answered and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So we are reading the tablets, of the vision, which is the scriptures. Okay, we reading the scriptures, man, that are written on tablets back in the days. Nowadays, it turned into paper and scrolls. Okay, we reading it, and we are able to deal with the scriptures and understand the scriptures through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yoshai, and know what's coming. Prophesy, know what's coming. Okay, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. We know what's coming, so we know how to prepare for it. Okay, verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. See that? So the Most High is gonna do it in his set appointed time, but it's really gonna come. So you see it's rendering, you see it's the tension is building up. More and more countries are getting involved. The NATO is pushing more. The NATO is sending military equipment led by the U.S. Don't forget that the U.S. is always backing up everyone that goes against its enemy. And that's really an Edomite tendency, man. Okay, the same thing happened when Holofernes came up against Israel, and then Esau came amongst them and said, hey, do this, that, and the third. You just got to starve them. You just got to cut off their food supply lane and starve them to death, man. That's going to bring them out of these mountains. So Esau had nothing to do with it, but still he came and he teamed up with our enemies, man. You see? So now it's just a matter of time, like I'm saying, man, is rendering. Prophecies is moving. Before World War III pops off, the MOTB, the Mark of the Beast, has to be implemented and made mandatory in the system. And that's going to create all chaos. And from that chaos, it's just going to be a chain reaction, man. All these prophecies is going to come to pass back to back to back. So be prepared, study the scriptures, know what's coming, and please the Lord to the best of thy abilities. So with that, I want to give all praises, glory, and the highest honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahshua, Bashem Kakadash, Shalom to the elect.